Well, welcome everyone. Good morning on this beautiful Wednesday morning. Thank you all so much for joining me today. As you guys know, on December 10th, we did a major update to Salamander Live. And that update included some cosmetic changes to Salamander Live's look and feel. We did a bunch of bug fixes, back-end work for future enhancements, and then we also added some new functionalities that we hope will bring you guys more value as users. Now, due to time, today's training is going to only focus on the new functionalities that were released last week. Now, in today's call, I've got a special guest with me today. I've got Jeremy Utter, who's with FEMA Region 8. He is the mastermind behind the new Tier 1 qualification set that was released last week. So if you guys are saw that in the release notes, he's basically the one that created that and designed that. So he was kind enough to make time to be here today and tomorrow to provide details on that collab project. All right, so if you've seen the v65 release notes, you'll notice that there's a long list of those bug fixes and enhancements. As I stated, I'm only going to focus on the 4 new functionalities and 2 new reports that were added. So the new functionalities include the ability to create collections, edit times on the roster tile. So when I say edit times, I mean manually edit check-in times. The ability to join events across organizations and accounts using upstream. And then there is 2 new reports that pull a complete history for a given person or piece of equipment. So though it is not technically a new functionality, with Jeremy's help, we were able to put together a new Tier 1 federal national qualification set that is now available to anyone who wants to utilize that. So before we start, I just want to put a discretion out there, disclosure that what we're showing today is what we have released to the market. It's bare bones, out of the box usage. But depending on your organization and the policies and procedures that your organization has in place, you may or may not have access to some of these new features. Not only that, your usage of these features may also be different than what we'll be showing. So I just want to make sure that I make that clear. All right, so the first thing we're going to cover is going to be the new Tier 1 federal national qualifications. So as you guys know, the Tier 1 federal national folder, when you log in to Salamander Live and go to a person's record, there's a qualifications and training section. That's what you'll see on here. That section contains tiers. So you're going to see Tier 1 through Tier 5. And the first folder is going to be that Tier 1 federal national folder. That folder contains people and equipment qualifications that are federally and nationally recognized. Now this folder is managed by Salamander, so it is locked for editing. So you aren't able to do anything with that folder except for add the qualifications that exist in those folders. As of last week, we now have 2 Tier 1 qualification options for people. So again, the equipment side of things has not been touched, so that legacy qualification set for equipment is still accessible and available. However, for people, you'll see that there's going to be 2. So on the left side on here, you'll see is going to be the legacy set. So in here, you're going to see it's going to be the legacy set, and then on the right side, you'll see it's going to be the new tier set. So there's going to be differences between that. You'll see in here on the new tier set, this version, it follows the emergency support functions model. This one does too, but this one goes deeper into it, where it actually also has folders for the specific ESS subcomponents. And each subcomponent is going to contain its own folders with qualifications within those folders. Now, to access the new Tier 1 qualification set, your Salamander Live account administrator is going to need to contact us at orders@salamanderlive.com. And they need to specifically request to switch over to the new Tier 1 qual set. Once you switch over, your Tier 1 folder will only contain the new qualification set. So when you go in there, this is all you're going to see in there. Of course, your other tier folders, such as your Tier 2, 3, 4, and 5, so that's your state, region, local, and other folders, those will remain untouched and look the same as it did before the switch. Now, existing legacy Tier 1 qualifications that were assigned to people before the switch will remain assigned until you manually go in and remove them from a person's record. Likewise, when you're scanning a person's credential, any legacy qualifications that were assigned will continue to populate as they were assigned. Now, one thing to note is that once you switch over to the new Tier 1 qual set, the purpose of that is to keep you on the new Tier 1 qual set. So that process is going to take anywhere from 1 to 2 weeks for that turnaround time for when you're going to get switched over. The reason for that is because we've got a bunch of people that are going to be requesting for that change, and so we want to give our development team enough time to do that switch on the back end, since they're the ones that have to do that switch. So again, the intent of this new structure was so that organizations across all industry types could easily assign and read the quals assigned to personnel. Now, as I stated earlier, Jeremy Utter is the mastermind behind this coding structure, so I'm going to hand this off to Jeremy so that he can explain this Tier 1 structure in greater details.
Thanks, Leah, and good morning, everybody. Leah, can you guys hear me okay?
Yeah.
Okay, perfect. Again, good morning, everybody. As Leah said, my name is Jeremy Utter. I do currently work at FEMA Region 8 on the IMAT response. However, when this project was born about four or 5 years ago, I was the log chief at the State of Colorado Office of Emergency Management. So just to be clear, this isn't a federal thing that's starting to get involved with Salamander. This was born when I was at the State of Colorado with many other states coming into agreement with this. As many of you all are aware, in today's Salamander version, in the Tier 1 level of qualifications, there's only 3 folders in there, and it's really hard to find things. Nothing is standardized. There's a lot of old legacy things in there that aren't real out in the response world anymore, and many other issues with the way that the old system was, if you will. So through this project over the last few years, I took the qualifications nationally and put them into a structure that makes sense to the response community, knowing that that is the largest users of the Salamander world. The ESF model is something that we all know and love and can interpret based on the 15 standard national ESFs that come out of the National Response Framework. Further recognizing that within each of the respective disciplines or ESFs, there are varying accrediting bodies. So on the left-hand side, you'll see there, as an example, in ESF 1, I'm sorry, that's the old version there, excuse me. On the right side there, you'll notice in ESF 4, you have NFPA, the National Fire Protection Association. You have the National Qualification System, which is what FEMA started several years ago to try to get a standardized qualification identification system across the country with task books, et cetera. And then you have the National Wildfire Coordinating Group. So again, there are multiple qualification or standards bodies within each of the respective emergency support functions, and we've just opened up one of them there as an example. With ESF 4, once you switch over, and in the demonstrations that we will do in the month of February, we will go into these in far greater details because, again, everywhere you see a plus sign on the left, in that right image on the left side of it, there is additional qualification bodies with inside of that. So, Leah, let's go to the next slide here. Or can I do that? Okay, there we go. And one of the other big components that we did with this project was standardizing the abbreviation or the qualification code that prints out on the back of the badge. Again, the legacy version, there's nothing standardized there, and if you're not really up to speed or very in tune with all the various qualifications, those abbreviations probably don't mean a whole lot to you. So what we did in the new version is the letters to the left of the underscore, it's anywhere between 3 and 5 letters, that identifies the qualification body. So as the example here, NQS is the National Qualification System. If this was, example, a wildland fire one, you would see NWCG and then an underscore, and then the letters to the right of that are the abbreviation for the actual qualification that is there. And there's, I think, somewhere in the neighborhood of 700 or so of these that I typed up. This is something that will be continually updated on a regular schedule. It won't be instantaneous, but it will be regularly updated, and those notifications will come out from the Salamander team through your normal notification channels as you have them today. Again, there are a lot of qualifications in there. One question that I have been asked already is, can you take my old qualification and crosswalk it into what it means in the new world? And that answer is simply no. That would have been an inordinate amount of work on a lot of people, and so there's no way to do that. So that's why legacy Tier 1 qualifications will remain in the system. When your agency decides to switch to the new system, those qualifications will just be hidden in a folder that no one will be able to see, so that when their ID card is scanned, it's still valid. However, you will not be able to add those legacy qualifications to any new IDs that you create and print. You'll have to use the new structure. So then when you have new personnel come in, you'll utilize the new qualifications, and then over time, we will attrition out the old qualifications based on personnel in the agency. So as Leah has brought up there, again, further example, you've got Tier 1 for the federal or national level qualifications, and then we have opened ESF 1, which is transportation, and then she further opened up the DOT for U.S. Department of Transportation, and there you see all of the qualifications under that the DOT has for CDLs and endorsements, etc. Looking down into ESF 2, now you're seeing where we have multiple subordinate qualification bodies within the ESF. So again, we're at Tier 1, now ESF 2, and you see CISA or their Emergency Communications Division. You see the FCC for your amateur or ham radio operators, and then you see NQS, and they have some qualifications identified there. So that's a visual to give you guys the understanding of how those children or subordinate qualification bodies exist. There happens to be ESF 3 for Public Works, and currently right now we only have stuff from NQS. I am working with the American Water Works and American Public Works Association to see if they have anything additionally standard that they would like to add. And as Leah scrolls down through the rest of those, you'll just see a high level in each of the ESFs where they have subordinate ones. I talked about the ones in ESF 4. Within ESF 5, we have the All Hazard Incident Management Team Association, and then you have the National Qualification System underneath that, which is everything that comes out of, again, out of the National Integration Center at FEMA. Further there, you see there's some stuff in ESF 7 specific to NQS. Public Health and Medical has NOLS. Leah, note we've got a typo there. NOLS is a National Outdoor Leadership School. That's also known as Wilderness EMS, if you will. Again, there's NQS there, and then there is the National Registry of Emergency Medical Technicians. Under 8. Under 9, you have NASAR, again, NQS. And then the USAR quals at the bottom. I do want to note this one out. Again, this is the Tier 1 level, so these are national quals. That USAR folder is one that is specific for the 28 USAR teams across the country and the ISTs that go with them. So that may apply to some states or may not, but just be aware that that is specific to the USAR arena. ESF 10 under Hazmat, we have NFPA and NQS again. Under ESF 11, currently we have just the NQS. I am working with the USDA on their APHIS response teams, and we will then get their information uploaded in there. At the Tier 1 level, ESF 12 Energy doesn't have anything specific, so we don't have anything subordinate underneath that one. ESF 13, you'll recall in the legacy system, they did have a few things there. It was kind of hit or miss and scattered, but we've cleaned that up, and now you have some things under NQS and ESF 13. ESF 14 for recovery, again, just has some NQS stuff. And then under 15, public information, some NQS information as well. So that is the high-level overview of that. I think I answered the one question from Jesse there. If I didn't, please let me know. Or does anybody else have any other questions at this point on the new structure? All right. If you do, at the end of this presentation, Leah will have an email that you can submit those questions to, and we can get those answered for you. Again, we will go over the new qualifications in a lot more detail in the upcoming trainings in February. So if that's something that you're definitely interested in, please come back and join us then. And other than that, thanks for everybody's time. Leah, I appreciate it. And I'll turn it back over to you, ma'am.
Great. Thank you, Jeremy. I do see here, Jesse, you have an additional question on is the entire list of codes available in a Word doc or PDF? I don't have an answer for that as of right now. I will ask our management team if the list is available and if we are able to give that out to you. So I will let you know. If you can, put your email address in the chat here, and then I will get the response back to you. Thank you, Jesse. All right, so if there is no further questions on that, we'll go ahead and move along in our presentation. So let me just get that back up and running here. So that is the qualification Tier 1 Federal National. So again, thank you, Jeremy, for your time today. Really appreciate it. All right, so moving along, our next new function that we added is collections management. So if you've worked with Salamander and our other solutions before, you know that traditionally the creation of collections have been done in Rapid Tag, in Command, and in our Tag app. Now, this ability is available now in SalamanderLive. So with the release last week, the only capability, and I just want to make sure that this is clear, is that the only capability will be the creation of the collection and adding resources to the collection. So printing and other functionality enhancements, that can be available in a future release. So there's a lot of plans in place to develop this further so that you can do more with this, such as being able to download that collection into the Track app and viewing more information. So that is to come in future releases. So in each collection, as you see in the image here, it's going to contain the collection name, the ID, the organization, NIMS type, the destination, the kind, and any people or equipment that you've added to that collection. Now, the collection is also going to include a cost by hour field, and this sums the hourly rate of all equipment and people that's added to that collection. So whatever you had down here in people and equipment. Now, the cost by hour, similar to the cost reports, it's going to look at both the standard rate that's saved in the record and then the account rate that's set at the account level when calculating the total. Now, if the person or equipment record does not have a rate entered, the cost by hour field is going to use the account default rate in the calculation. Now, if no individual or account rate is available, it's going to calculate 0 for that resource. So then you'll have to just take a look at what you have for cost and everything to verify that this cost is correct. So let me just pull up Salamander Live and we'll do a quick walkthrough of that. So let's go in here. So here's Salamander Live. Let me make this bigger. So you'll see in the left-hand panel there is going to be a new menu item for collections. So that's going to be where you're going to go in and create your collections and create that database. So you'll see in here we have a bunch in here that we've already created. So to create one, simply click the New button and fill in the information. You'll see at the top there's going to be an Is Active button. Now this is for future enhancements. As of today, it doesn't do anything right now. But this is going to be a function that's going to allow this collection to be downloaded into the track app once you mark it as active. So what you would put in here is put the name of the collection. I'm just going to put Team Salamander, ID number, Sal 3000, the organization, select that. As you know, this is going to be for any organization field. You have to select one from the pick list, the drop-down list. Select the NIMS type if there's any, the designation, and then a kind. So you'll see in here there's a lot of different kinds. If you're familiar with Rapid Tag, these are all ones that were pulled from there as well. So in this case, if I put in here technical, I click Save, it's going to be like all the other forms where it's going to take you to the profile. So in the profile here, you're going to again have your base information at the top here. As you know, right now, cost by hour is $0. We didn't mark the Is Active button, so right now it's saying it's false. If you want to edit this profile information, just simply click on that and then go in here and edit that information. Now down at the resources here, you'll have two options to start adding people and equipment. To simply add people, click the people link. It's going to pull down all of your people within your personnel database. So you have your options. You can basically just click and select to add them. So if I add this person, it's going to add this person to the selected section down here. I can also do a search, and I can search for specific people as well too. So in here, if I type in Lee, it's going to pull down everybody that has Lee in their name or the organization. So I'm going to add these people in here. If you want to remove someone, just simply click their name from the selected section, and they'll remove that person from your list. So once I click Add, it's going to add those two people, and it's going to start calculating their cost by hour. Again, using whatever is within their personnel record, or it's going to use whatever rates that we set at the account level down here at the settings option. Again, that is something that has to be set by the account administrator. So if you are a child organization, you're not going to have this additional option of the settings down here where you can change those options. So to view your people, just simply click the caret to expand that section, and then you'll see a list of the people that you've added. Again, you have another option to remove them if you want to remove them from that collection. Similar to command, you have the option to mark someone as a leader. You also have that option in Rapid Tag as well too. So in here, if you want to just mark someone as a leader, simply click the radio button and it marks that person as the leader. Now, same thing for equipment. To add equipment, simply click on Add Equipment, and it's going to pull down your list of equipment. Now, one thing to note with the list of equipment here is that it's only going to pull your non-consumable items. So everything that's been marked as non-consumable. Anything that's marked as consumable will not appear in this list, and we did that for a purpose because you're not going to have non-consumable items be a part of a collection. Those are normally going to be issued out using the inventory app. So in this case, again, you have the same option of just selecting the item in here, or you can search for it. So in here, I'm just going to put in truck, click enter, and everything that has truck in it, it's going to appear in here. So I'm just going to add this one item, which is truck number 1, and then click add. So again, click the caret to expand that section. So now we've got 3 resources added to this collection. The cost by hour for this collection, if it were to be deployed for an event, is going to be $83 an hour. Okay. Are there any questions on the collection piece? Feel free to send a chat. A message in the chat section, or you can unmute yourself to ask that question as well. So again, just real base foundational setup for a collection until future releases where we'll enhance this to allow you to do more with it. Is this available in tag and RT? Yes. So the creation of collections is actually available in 3 of our solutions. In the tag app, you're able to create a collection in there based off of your username. You can create a collection for yourself and add other people in there and be able to generate a QR code to be scanned in to an event. In Rapid Tag, you have the ability to create a collection there. And then Command, you also have the ability to create collections in there. If you want to know the steps for how to create collections in either one of those solutions, you can always go to Salamander University, where we have walkthroughs, detailed walkthroughs of how to do that in each of those solutions. All right. No other questions? A Firefox user. Oh, yes. I love Firefox. I have Chrome up here as well too, but my big one is Firefox. All right, so let's move on to the next piece on here. So next thing on here is going to be editing check-in time. So when you log into SalamanderLive, you're going to notice if you go and select an event, there is going to be a new tile called the roster tile. So that by default is going to appear on your events dashboard. So the roster tile has really 2 purposes. First is that it's going to show everybody that has checked into the event. The second thing is that it's going to allow the administrators to manually edit the last checked in date, the time, and the assignment for anybody that's checked in. So you'll see on here there's a checkbox right here next to each person, and I'll go through a live walkthrough. Once you select a person, so if you click that box next to their name, it's going to activate this plus button, which is now going to open a manual log entry form. Now, I do want to talk about access to editing times. So you do have to have administrator level access in order to open and edit the manual log entry. So when I say administrator level access, it means administrator or the administrator no security role. So it doesn't matter if you are a child organization that has administrator or you're at the account level. So you'll have access to manually edit times for your event based off of your access. So let's just do a quick walkthrough on that in SalamanderLive. So in here, go to your events, which is going to pull up your events list. From your events list, go ahead and select an event. So let me select an event here. I'll select event ZZ. Hopefully there's people in here, which is going to take me into my event dashboard. So there I've got a bunch of people in my event and my roster list. So this is my events dashboard. You'll notice that some things have changed with the events dashboard as well too. So at the top, you'll notice that there isn't an option for you to move around between events. So all you're going to have at the top now is going to be the event name. So if you want to switch between events, you do have to tap the back button to go back to your main events list, or click on events to go back to your main list. So you aren't able to switch between events anymore. So we remove that with this release. So in here, you'll see the roster tile, you'll see the list of everybody that has checked in. So again, you're only able to edit people that have checked in. So if those individuals have checked in, but they also have, let's say they were in the event and then they signed out, so they were moved to the off-scene assignment, they will disappear from your roster. They are no longer active. So you'll only, again, see people that have checked in and that are active. So if you have the correct permissions, if you click on a person, so in this case, let's go ahead and click on Kate Daniels. We'll click her name. You'll see in that, that's going to activate the plus button. Now, if you don't have the correct permissions, if you click on that button, you're still going to see a grayed out plus button. Then you'll know that you don't have access, and you'll need to contact your account administrator to give you access if you're supposed to be able to make these changes. So when you click the plus button, this is going to pull up the manual log entry form. So on this form, you're going to see some base information. So again, the ID, the person's name, the organization they're with, and then the name of the event. And then at the bottom here, you're going to see some information that you have to enter in. So all this information is required. Even if you're just looking at changing the time, you must enter in the date and the assignment, even if it's the assignment's exactly the same, okay? So it doesn't matter if you're changing one of these required pieces, you have to enter in information for all. So in this case, if I'll see here that her date was 12/3/2020, I'll just change that to 2 o'clock. So in this case, I'm going to put 20, change the time to 2 o'clock. One thing to note with the time field here is that it does not accept military time, so it's not supported as of today. In a future release, we may have this field support military time. So right now you do have to put in the actual time. So here 2 p.m., so it changes to p.m. and then select the assignment. So this assignments list is going to pull up all active assignments. So all assignments that are part of this event, that's all that's going to be listed here. So what you need to do on here is just select the assignment. If it's the same assignment, hopefully you remember what that assignment was. If it's a new assignment, this is where you go in and select a new assignment. In this case, I'm just going to move this person. I'll move this person to, let's see here. I'll move this person to the medical assignment. Once you select the assignment, you'll see at the bottom end that there is a I understand box. So this here, you do have to select this in order for you to be able to save this. So this is just stating that you understand that by clicking submit, the changes are going to happen. It's going to be logged, and it can't be undone. So again, it's just another confirmation to make sure you check and verify your information in here. Again, if you make a mistake, you can go back in here and change your time again. So it's not like if you make a mistake, you can't go back and change it. You can always change it. Just note that the event log report is going to reflect all the changes that you've made. So click I understand, which activates the save button. Click save. Once you click save, your roster tile will update, and it's going to refresh, and it's going to state the person's time. So right here, it changed to 2 p.m. Some things to note about time changes. You can't, if you try to add a date and time that's before your event start date, it's not going to reflect correctly in the roster tile here. It's going to show in the log that you try to change the time, but it's not going to reflect correctly on here. So you want to make sure that you select a time and date that's after your event starts and after this first, or after the event started. One thing to note in here, I'm going to pull up the reports. So in here on the event log, we'll go ahead and pull up the event log report. So in the event log report, the string is going to start with manual. Move this over so you can see this. So in here, this log report shows everything. So every action, every activity, similar to what you see in command, except this is a printable report. So if you, I'm just going to scroll all the way down to the bottom on here. You'll see everything in here. So these are it's listed in chronological order by the time. So you'll see at the top here, there's going to be a manual change. You'll see on here, manual. That means that a manual edit was made to that person's either the time, the date, or their assignment. So that's to let you know that a manual change was done. So it says user move responder. It lets you know who did that. So it's going to show whoever was logged in. So mine is Salamander Trainer 2, so that's me, that's my username, and that's what's showing that I did that move. So again, this log report is going to be great if you need to just go back and review what has happened, so any activity that's happened during the event. So any questions on that? No questions? Okay, so let's just go back into our presentation then and move along. So the last thing on here is going to be joining of events. So this is the last major functionality that we've added for our release last week. So the join function, as you know, if you've worked with SalamanderLive before, you know that we currently have a join function currently, which is, in our terms, we've named it internal join. So the join function in Salamander Live, what this does, it allows agencies to work with other agencies within or outside of their Salamander Live account and that are responding to the same event. And what that does is it creates that common operating picture for all those organizations that are joined to that event. So up until last week, you were only able to join events within your user permission and account. So that's what's called an internal. That's what you were traditionally able to do, was to join 2 events that were created in different Salamander applications, but within the same account that you as the user has access to, and then joining those together. When you do that join internally, you'll see when you select 2 events, because that's when you do that, you'll see that there's an additional icon that populates. That icon is going to be that join, so that internal join icon. So it's going to allow these 2 events to join together and to create one event in the system. Now, today we have a new one that's called the pin join. So the pin join, it's going to allow you to join events using a 6-character pin. So it's going to be a combination of letters and numbers. Using that 6-character pin, you're now able to join events across different organizations outside of your own user permissions and outside of your Salamander Live account. So let's say your agency, you guys have Salamander Live, you're responding to a county-wide event. There's another agency across the county that also has Salamander Live, and you're going to be doing a joint event. Now, because your Salamander Live account's separate, traditionally in this internal join, you wouldn't be able to join your events together and see a combined data in the reports. Today, you can with using that 6-character pin. You're now able to join your events together. Still keep your account separate, but again, join your event data together so that data flows between all organizations that are joined. Now, the one thing to note when you're looking at pin join, so which is different than internal join, is that to use the pin join, you must be either an administrator level access, again, that administrator role or administrator no security, or you have to be assigned a new role that we just created called the incident pin admin role. So if you are not an administrator, but you are an incident manager and you need access to be able to join these pins together, you'll need to contact your account administrator to have them assign you that incident pin admin role, which will allow you to use this new functionality, this pin functionality. So the difference between this is that when you select one event on here in Salamander Live, what's going to happen is that there's going to be 2 new icons that are going to appear. So you'll see there's going to be a join with pin. So this is the join with pin icon, and this is going to be the manage pin icon. So the manage pin icon, this one right here, this allows you to basically create a pin and then share that pin with other organizations. So that's the first step in being able to join events together, is that you have to first generate that pin. This function right here allows you to do that. So then what you do is it's going to generate a system-generated 6-character pin that's going to be unique to that event. So every single pin that's generated is going to be unique. So what you can do once you generate that pin is now share that pin with other organizations and have them join your event. So how do they join the event? So how would another organization join the event? So in their case, the other organization, once they receive your pin, they would go ahead and click their event and then click this icon with join with pin. Once they do that, all it's going to ask is for them to enter in that pin that they were provided, and then now they can join the events together. So I'm going to show you guys that process, and I'm going to talk about some rules that come into play when you're looking at pin join. Those rules are going to be very different than what you're used to with internal join. There are some that overlap, but most of the rules that go with a pin join, there's a long list, are going to be different. Because you kind of have to combine some of the rules that you know with the internal join with the new rules that come in. All right, so let me just pull up Salamander Live again. So in here in Salamander Live, I'll go to my event. So I've got an event that's created in here called Event A. So 12/16/20, I created earlier this morning. So that was created through command. So when I click that checkbox, this is what happens. There's going to be two new icons. Again, because I have administrator role, I'm able to see these two new icons. So this is the join with pin, and this is the manage pin. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and click on that, and I'm going to activate my pin. So I'm going to activate this, and I'm ready to share this pin and have another organization that's at a account join my event, since we're going to be doing a joint incident or joint event together. So in the pin management window, you have to click yes. Once you click yes, it's going to auto-generate a pin. So again, it's a 6-digit pin, characters and numbers together. So I'm going to copy that, and I'm going to email that, or I'm going to either call the other agency and let them know what that pin is so they can put that in. So once I generate that pin, I'm going to click OK. So what's going to happen is that it's going to appear under the assigned pin column. So one thing to note when you are working with pins is to make sure that you add these columns here. So these columns are hidden under your edit columns icon. So in order to see all your pin information, make sure you add the joined pin, assigned pin, and his active pin column. To do that, just click edit columns, and then you'll add them from here under these hidden columns. Okay? So once I've done that, I've activated that pin. Now I can go into the other account I can share that pin to other organizations and have them join my event. So in this case, I have, there's a question that pops up. Can more than one person be assigned the incident pin admin role? Absolutely yes. Anybody that you choose can, as long as they have a Salamander Live username, that you can go in and assign them that. So let me just pull that up real quick here so that you guys can see where that's at. So I have it in here. I'm just going to click on Salamander Trainer 4 on here. So again, this is just my training account. So administrator, or this pin role, or this incident pin admin role. So you only need one or the other. If this person's already set as an administrator, you don't need this incident pin admin role. So you don't need that. But if the person was not an administrator and they are in incident management, so they've got the ability to manage events, then you want to go ahead and add in that incident pin role. Or select the organization you want them to have access to. So to manage pin and the joining of events through that pin. So again, select the organization you want them to have access to for being able to join pins. And then if there's any children you want them to have access to, then click apply. Okay, so that's where that's at. So any other questions in that before I move on to show the child? So again, I just want you guys to see on here my event. This is parent event A who's sharing the pin. And then you've got the child. So I'm going to log in on Chrome over here. Let me make this bigger so you guys can see. So because I can't have two accounts open at the same time for Salamander Live, I've got to switch over to a different browser. So here's my secondary account. So this is a second account. It's separate than my other user account. Okay. So in here, if I go to events, you'll see that I have event B. So this is event B. So this is going to be the child. So how do you know the difference between the parent and the child? The parent is always going to be the one that shared the pin. The child of the event is going to be the one that is going to join with the pin. So event B is going to be the child. So when I click that checkbox, you'll see again those icons appear in here. This time I'm going to join with pin. I'm going to click this icon and then I'm going to enter in that pin. So it's going to, oops, I didn't copy that pin real quick here. Let me go back and copy that pin. So this is LJWWOW. go back in there. Let me go back in here. Let me just copy this real quick. So in here, I'm going to paste that in there. So it's going to show here, you'll see in the pin join window, it says join limit test event B. So limit test is the organization name. So you'll see in here, you'll see your organization name and then your event name. And then it's going to say, okay, to join with event A. So because you don't have access to that organization or that account, it's not going to show that organization or account name in here. So it's going to just show the event name. So in here, you just verify that this information is correct and click join. Just note that once you click join, you cannot undo the join, okay? I'm going to click join. You're going to get a confirm join message on here that says that, are you sure you want to join event B to event A? By joining events, you're going to see additional assignments, collections, equipment, and people. So that's very similar to an internal join. Same thing, it cannot be undone. So once this action is done, they're going to be joined. I'm going to click OK. Once I click OK, my event has now joined. Now, some things to note on here. So since this is the child event, and there's 2 commands. So this is going to take you back to an internal join. If you remember from an internal join, 2 commands normally, if they're created on the same computer, so when they're created on the same computer, they're joined. But if you have 2 separate commands that are installed on 2 separate computers, you can join them together. The difference here is because there's 2 commands from 2 separate organizations / accounts. It lets you know which one is the child. So in this case, this is the child command. So it's going to add this additional join. So this tiny little join right here, it lets you know that you are a child command. You're not the parent. So this right here is a great indicator to let you know that you are a child. Your command and event is going to be the child. You'll see in here there's a yes column, there's the join pin is active, and then you'll see that there's nothing that's going to be here in the sign. So some other things to note as a child event is that you cannot create and generate a pin now for this event. Once you're joined, you are joined as a child. You cannot create another pin for this event and share that with someone else. That's not the way it works. So if there's another organization that wants to join you with this pin, you have to get that pin from the parent organization. And then they can join themselves to the event, okay? There are some rules. I'm going to pull up the presentation so you guys can see this a lot easier to read PowerPoint on here. So there are some rules when it comes to joining events by pin. So here are the rules. There's a couple more, but these are the main ones. Now we do have a pin matrix, a join matrix that kind of shows all the different rules that are imposed for internal joins and pin joins. That document, I'll show you where that's located. You want to review that, but I just pulled out some of the main ones from that document here so that you have a better understanding when it comes to pin joins. So the event that creates and shares the pin will always be the parent of the event. So events that join with the pin will always be a child of the event, as I explained earlier. The rule on here is that a child event cannot create a pin and become a parent for another child event. As you saw in my example, once you click that event, that checkbox next to the event, those icons, pin join, join with pin and manage pin, those icons are no longer available. The second thing on here is only the parent will have full access to end and restart the event. So when you, as a child, join by pin, what you're doing is you're giving full control to the parent organization. So they will have full access, full control to end the event and restart the event. You, as a child, have lost your control over that. Okay, so the only thing you can do is really delete your event, but you can't end it, nor can you resume it. So if the parent, the parent event ends the event, it's going to end the event for all child events. And likewise, if the parent restarts the event will resume for all child events. In this case, I'm going to show you guys this I'll click on here. I'll log in on here. You'll see on here, I'm the parent. This is the parent event A. So you'll see I still have all the options on here, which allows me to continue to join with PIN. You can all two levels on here if you wanted to. So if, let's say I am right now currently the parent, and I've shared my event with event B, so my other account. Let's say I'm at a city level and the other one is just a child organization that I don't have access to. Let's say the county comes in, they're a separate account. They come in, they say, you know, this has now become a county-wide disaster. We need to get involved in this. We need to join this event. You can basically join with a PIN that we share with you. Now, what that makes you is that also makes you a child. Now, you're a secondary child. The event that you share the PIN with becomes a grandchild. So you can have multiple levels of PIN joins, and you can go as deep as you want on that. So in this case, what I'm going to do is I'm going to end the event. So if I end the event on here, I'm going to show you what happens. End the event for event A, okay? So I end the event, it's going to put an end date in here. Now let's go back to my child event, and I refresh this. You'll see that there is going to be an end date. That's for the child. See on here? The event has ended. That was not done by the child, it was done by the parent. If you click on this, in this case, you're not going to be able to resume that. Now, if I want to resume this, I can go ahead and click over here and click resume, and it's going to resume the event, which is going to resume and restart the event for the child as well. So in this case, refresh. And now the child event has been resumed. Okay. Fourth one here, SalamanderLive and TrackApp users logging into the parent organization. So if you are a TrackApp user, when you log into the your parent organization, you're only going to see the parent event name. So in this case, for event A, if I'm logged in under my account, which is event A, I will only see my event A name. If you're a child, you'll only see your child event name. So I've got a sample on here. So this is a child. You see on here, this is the child event. So this is logged in under my child account. You see on here, limit test 2, which just matches my account. You'll see event B is all that they can see in there. They can't see the name event A. So if I join that, all the data is going to be exactly the same as the parent because the event has joined. All the data is going to be the same, but my child event name will stay throughout the whole event. Now on the parent side, you'll see that the parent name stays on the parent side, but the data is going to be shared across. So I'll pull that up so you guys can see that as well. So here is the parent. So you see in here, event A, this is the parent. I'm logged in under my parent user. You'll see this information matches exactly 11 people, 3 equipment, 2 collections. If I tap join, I should see the same information as the child. So all the data is now joined and shared across, okay? Fifth thing on here is that even though the parent event name is going to be used on reports, the same report information is going to be available for both parent and child. So what this means is that in the reports themselves, most of the reports are going to have the parent name. So if I'm logged in as the child in here, so let me go into the child. If I go into this event, let me just click on this event real quick. Go to the reports. If I go to the report in here, it's going to show the parent event name, not the child. So even though my child event name is event B, in here when I pull the report, it's going to show event A. You see in here, it's going to show the event A name. So you see in here, event A shows you that the event A, which is the parent name, shows up on the report. So that's what basically that bullet point means. And then last but not least is that the parent and child events can delete their own respective events without impacting each other. So for example, if the parent event is deleted, the child event will still be able to see their event, so their event B in this case, in their event list. Same thing, if the child deletes their event, the parent event will still be available. All the data that was shared amongst both organizations while they were still active is still going to be available. Even though the child deletes their event, that data from the child is still going to be available within the parent account's reports. Of course, if the child deletes their event, obviously the reports are going to be all gone. It's going to be unavailable for them. That's just the same with internal joins. If you go in here and you delete your event, you're not going to see any of that information. So again, delete an event, just simply click here and then delete. Once you delete your information, everything regarding that event is going to disappear. You can't get that back. Okay? Any questions in join? In here under Salamander University, we do have a pin join document. I hear that there's a lot of background noise. I'm not sure who's doing that. You can put yourself on mute. I'm going to mute all real quick here. So in here, under the documents, you'll see there is a section called Quick Reference Guides. It's going to be this very first document called Join Matrix. This is the first version. So this is a PDF document. This is going to walk you through everything. I know it's very tiny because there's lots of information on here, which goes through internal joins and pin joins from command to command, command to track, command to rapid tag evac, and then there's plans as well too. Now for the plans section, as you guys know, this is a feature that has not been released yet. That will be released in at a future date. So this here, we just kind of document some of the functionality, the rules that are in play when you're doing an internal join versus pin join. So this document, I highly recommend you review this so you have a better understanding of differences between an internal join between two command computers and pin join. Okay. Thank you, Jesse. I really appreciate it. Other things on here, the last two things I know we're getting close to the wire here, is two reports. If there's no other questions for pin join, I'm going to go through the two reports that's available. So there's two new reports that's available. One is for people and one is for equipment. So under here, you'll notice that there is a new report when you select one person. So if I click on Josh Adams on here, if you go to the report option, there is going to be a report called Person History Report. So Person History Report is going to pull a report for this person. It's going to be a complete history report. You have a PDF version and an Excel version. So we'll go ahead and pull up the PDF version on here. So this here, if you see, it's going to pull up a full history for this person. All the times in which he has been added or checked into an event, all the assignments he was assigned to. You'll see that there's multiple pages. There's probably like, I don't know, there's 18 pages for him. We use Josh Adams a lot in our trainings. Any inventory that was issued out to him, you'll see a full history on that. And it'll tell you who did all the changes, the event that he was a part of, everything. So that's the person history. So there's two ways to access this: by clicking the checkbox next to that person's name and then clicking report and selecting person history report from the drop down. The other way is by accessing his record. If you go into his record, you'll see there's a report option right here at the top. So this is new, this icon right here for the person's profile. And then you can pull the same report from here as well too. So that's for people. Same thing as for equipment. So equipment, same process on here. Now you can view a full history for each one of your pieces of equipment in the system. Let me clear this filter out. So in here, if I want to look at the history for this piece of equipment, let's do this one here. This might have some more. Let's do this one. So same thing, click the checkbox and then click the report icon. You'll see the similar report naming convention. So this is the equipment history report. Same thing. This time we'll do a Excel version. Open that up, and again, it's going to pull down the full history for that piece of equipment. Now, if there's no history in here, there will be a notification lets you know that there's no history for that piece of equipment or person. So don't think that the report is broken if you don't see any data. That just means that there's no history for that piece of equipment. The report will tell you in red that there is no data. So in this case, again, you pull everything. It's just going to pull the entire history. Again, this is a piece of equipment, so it lets you know when it was signed in for a event, when it was checked out using the inventory app, etc. Same thing to go in here to, you can go into the actual profile and then pull the report from there as well too. One thing to note on here, and this is something that's new, for those that are in the, you know, more towards inventory management, there is a new function, new feature that you'll see in here. So when your inventory is assigned, you'll see this on here. So you'll see it says, you know, this is something that's always been in there. It's inventory status. It says assigned. But now you'll see who it's assigned to. So this was also released last week, assigned to, and it will show you the person who it was assigned to or is assigned to, and then the organization they belong to. So this is also something. So since we're in here, I thought I want to show you guys this. But again, there's a ton of different changes that we made. I highly recommend you go through this document. So if you want a full list of everything that was changed, just go to Solution Updates, click the plus, and then look at this document right here called Salamander Release version 65. So this is the newest release. So this document will basically show you everything that's been fixed for bug fixes, and then also released for new features or functionality. Okay. Any questions on what we've covered today? I'll unmute you guys. You can unmute yourself if you have a question on anything I've covered today, or you can choose to send a chat. No questions? All right. So as Jeremy stated, this is just going to be, this is more of a high level. We have another opportunity for people to go through the same training again tomorrow. I will have this recorded. I do have it recorded. This will be available in Salamander University. I don't know if it's going to be immediately, but it will be available in Salamander University if you want to go back and review it. We do have 2 more opportunities in January to review, and then in February, we are going to go through these in full detail. So in February, we're going to give 9 opportunities for everybody to go through and learn the 3 new functionalities. So we're going to focus on pin join for 1 day, 1 day a week for 3 weeks. We're going to do creating a collection 1 day a week for 3 weeks, and then rostering. So the manual edit of times, we'll cover that 1 day a week for 3 weeks as well. So we'll either choose a Tuesday for pin join, Wednesday for collections, and then Thursday for rostering. So take a look in the bulletin that will come out next month for those dates and times. So let me know if you guys have any questions. What's the email to change the qualifications? The email to change the qualifications, I will put this in the chat right here. It is orders at SalamanderLive.com. And I'll put that on here. So I think I have it in the, do I have it in the presentation? I apologize if I didn't. Okay, so I apologize. I didn't have that in the presentation for you guys written down, but here it is. It's orders at SalamanderLive.com. I put that in the chat. So orders at SalamanderLive.com. So that is going to be where you can send in your request to get your account switched over to the new Tier 1 qualifications.
Yeah.
So thank you, Renee, for reminding me. For questions, as you start working through some of these new functionalities, if you have questions, please email training@SalamanderLive.com. So for questions, I'll put this in here so you guys have this. Spell. So for questions, email training@SalamanderLive.com. To switch over to the new tiers, it's orders@SalamanderLive.com. Okay. Any other questions? No other questions? All right. Well, thank you all so much for being a part of today's training. Hopefully this is helpful for you guys to start utilizing the new functionalities that's available. Thank you all so much. If I don't talk with you guys tomorrow, if you're not on tomorrow, please have a safe and wonderful Christmas. I'll talk with you guys again in the new year. Thank you, everybody.